gorgeous out right now. It's warm, it's sunny, it's beautiful. I'm at a really good spot in the park. I'm right by the water. I'm under a big tree. I have my sushi. I have my orange Alani. Lately, I haven't been getting outside how I normally do. I haven't been in nature like I normally am, and I've noticed that has really affected my mental health and my healing journeys and all of that. I've just noticed that it has just made those things so much harder. Those things that I was so used to doing and feeling, it was harder to do and feel those things, if that makes sense. When I was, cooped up inside and not really feeling the emotions that I usually feel as strongly as I usually do. There's just something so beautiful and meditative about the outdoors and just sitting in it and just existing in it and just watching the bugs and the birds and the leaves move on the trees, and it's just so grounding. And I feel like we just don't appreciate the healing power of nature enough. I think that's one of the most important things that God has given us, is nature and its ability to heal us, both through, like medicine and stuff, because a lot of that originated from nature, but just through just the inherent spirituality of it. The angle has changed. I took off my shoes and I sanitized my hands. But did you see that? That's crazy. Sorry if you hear talking and stuff. There's a family right over there. I think they're taking pictures. Very beautiful. I think she wants to go home and take a nap. But yeah. Sorry I'm eating this so weird. I forgot to get chopsticks, so we're eating with our hands. Yeah. But I just think there's so much that we just collectively take for granted, I feel. Outside of nature, but just human connection. Last night I saw Jesse Wells in concert. I still have the X's on my hands because it was at a bar and it would not freaking come off in the shower. I exfoliated my hands. I used my loofah and I scrubbed the F out of it and it just did not go away at all. So that was just really cool. But there was just something about, and it was a very intimate venue too. And there was just something about being in a room with people who see the world similarly to you and have similar interests and, oh my gosh, there's a really big swan over there. Anyways, but have the same interests and, you know what I mean? It's just so, there was just something about that was just so enriching. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it was just so powerful. And I think we as people, we as souls on this earth tend to really, sorry, that swan is beautiful. If it's still there when I'm done talking, I'm gonna get you a video of it. If it's not, there's a goose. I really can't tell, but it's big and beautiful and gorgeous. But anyways, I feel like there's such a culture, especially in the spiritual side of life, I guess, where it's very individualistic and it's very, you are on your journey on your own and all of that. And it's that's true. And it's not just outright false, but it's misleading, because you can't grow as a person, as a spirit, as a soul without other people around you, without other people who want you to grow in the way that you need to grow. Just something so powerful and so neglected in genuine, real human connection, in fostering relationships with other people. It's an art that's dying. It really is an art that's dying. And this is your sign. If you've been wanting to go to a certain concert, see a play, you know, go to a local event of some kind, go to it. Go. The worst thing that will happen if you go is you don't have fun. I found that some of my most impactful conversations I've had about life and death and our role in all of that comes with people who don't believe the same things that I do. Because I can talk with, you know, my friends and relatives who have the same basic faith that I do, and we're not going to get anywhere with it. But when I talk with my friends who are on a different spiritual path than me, I find myself growing and evolving and understanding myself in the world so much more and so much more deeply, and forming a much more sacred connection with it. Because if you only see the world from, you know, that one perspective, you're never going to really understand it. That's why, like, you can't just read like one book about like World War II and think you know everything about it. So you would have to read, oh, hi baby. Sorry, there's a little beetle walking on me. But like, you can't just read from the American perspective of a war and not read from another side of it and think you have the full picture, because you don't. And it's kind of like that. Oh my gosh. The butterflies are out. The wildflowers are starting to bloom and the butterflies are out, and it's just so gorgeous. But I don't know. I've just found myself more and more drawn to introspection and observation. A couple weeks ago, I went up to Alabama to visit some family. And they live up like in northern Alabama, like Huntsville area, right between like Huntsville and Nashville. It's like right up by the Tennessee border. And oh my gosh, it is just so gorgeous up there. Like, if you've never been, it's just so beautiful. There's mountains and trees and water, and oh my gosh, it's just, when you're from Central Texas, like, even a hill is like a novelty, you know? Like, a hill and a lake is like, this is nature, like, we're living. And in the past year or so, I've done a lot more traveling. I went to Hot Springs, Arkansas with my grandma. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I've gone into more of like the hill country with my mom, because she loves it out there, and I loved it out there, and I'm like, you know what, if I stay in Texas, this is where I want to be, and I want to be in the hill country. It's just so stunning. But the more I've traveled, the more I want to travel, you know? It's like an addiction, you know? It's like the more you do, the more you want. Is this your sign to go outside? Get an old blanket, put on some comfy clothes, get some sunscreen. This is what I have. It's so cute. It's banana scented. Isn't that awesome? But yeah, get you some sunscreen, wear comfy clothes, go outside, just sit for a bit. Just sit and think. Meditate if you want. Just do something that'll make your heart happy. I decided to color, and I figured you and I can sit and talk and hang out while I color. Maybe you can color with me if you want. I'm probably gonna speed it up whenever I'm not talking, but just do something that you love today that'll relax you and make you happy and calm. I'm coloring this. It says follow your heart. It's a little compass. It's very beautiful. I think I got this book at Michael's, so if you want it, go to Michael's and get you a coloring book. They do have really good coloring books at Michael's. even better, go to a local, like a lot of the time the little local like kind of kitschy shops or like funky decor shops a lot of the time will sell coloring books. Like the little artsy stores, you know, we have a lot of those in my town. On the square, especially like downtown, there's a lot of those. Go there, see if you can find a coloring book there, or even order from like a small business online, like Bobby Goods. I love Bobby Goods. Love Bobby Goods. I will always, anytime she drops a book, I'm ordering it and I am coloring it, and I am feeling so much joy while I do it too. That's the whole point of everything, of creativity, of your spiritual practices, of your pursuit of knowledge, your education. All of that is for joy. That's why you do it, you know? And it's not necessarily that the process is going to be joyful, especially with education, especially with, you know, any spiritual goals, any fitness goals. A lot of the time those are painful. They suck. So much of the time they're not fun to do. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that you're doing it for your long-term joy. You know, you're not doing it for your immediate gratification. You're doing it for that long-term dream, right? You're doing it for you. And the reason you do anything for anyone is to bring them happiness, is to bring them joy. And I don't know why we treat ourselves any differently, especially as women. As women in our very patriarchal society, a lot of the time we're kind of expected to be the big, strong, brave, maternal figure to everybody. And you really don't have to be. You don't have to make sure everybody is completely taken care of before you care for yourself. If anything, it's better that you don't do that. It's better that you care for yourself before you care for others. It's better to make sure that your cup is full before you try to pour out of it. And I feel like as women, we, a lot of the time subconsciously, will play into that role of the nurturer, of the carer, the caregiver, instead of caring for ourselves. Instead of pouring that love and that attention into ourselves, we focus on giving it to others, which is not bad. If you are in a place where that is sustainable and joyful for you, please do it. But if you're drained, if you are not being looked after properly, that's only going to lead to pain and destruction and more issues than it's worth, really. This is one of those fancy markers. I just think we are just so much, we are worth so much more than what we would sell ourselves for. Our thoughts and opinions and our gifts are so valuable, and I feel like we only put the value on them that society puts on them, and society does not value our gifts and our talents and our aspirations as women. A lot of the time it says it does, but it really doesn't. It only values those dreams and wants and thoughts whenever they align with a man's vision for the world. And we need to really learn how to use our voices and how to communicate what we need to without giving in to that temptation to only pander to men, to prioritize being heard and seen by men. Sometimes you have to, for survival, if anything, for a career, for keeping the peace. And I'm really tired of it. Because look at where keeping the peace has gotten us. A whole lot of nowhere is where it's gotten us, really. And sometimes you need to do it. Sometimes if there's a man and he's crazy, like, don't rile him up. You know what I mean? Like, try not to do that. But just generally, the general man, you don't need to bow to him. And we need to start understanding that our main audience who will care and appreciate what we have to say is usually going to be women, as women. You know? You can't live with your walls up. You can't live with your guard up. You can't thrive with a barrier up all of the time. We just need to find people that we know have our best interests at heart, and it's hard. It's so hard. But they're out there. You know what I think a really underrated feeling is? There's a lot of them. There's a lot of feelings that we don't really acknowledge enough. I think, like, a really good sandwich, underrated. I feel like we don't appreciate sandwiches enough. What color is this? It's like a pretty teal. Can you even see that? It's a really bad heart, but it's a very pretty teal. Just a couple little hearts. I'm gonna color the hearts teal. I think the sun on your skin, incredible feeling that we don't appreciate enough. We really don't. I think talking to somebody that you can like tell loves you, incredible feeling. Especially when you're like venting about something and like you know that they're listening to you. That is an absolutely wonderful feeling to have. And it's so powerful too. It's such a powerful feeling of feeling heard and appreciated. And I feel like we don't talk about that feeling enough. I also think sunrises, oh my gosh, a good sunrise, being up for the sunrise is so underrated. It is so underappreciated. So I feel like as a general culture, as a like online culture, we're all early birds because we all want people to think we're early birds. But I think in reality, most of us are not. And I know for me, I would rather stay up really late and sleep in all day than go to bed really early and be up really early. I've always been like that. I've always loved just staying up at night, reading, all of that. And then I love slow mornings. And I think that sometimes starting your slow morning way earlier, so good. Because some of my favorite mornings ever have been when I wake up at the butt crack of dawn, get myself a cup of coffee, put on a sweatshirt or grab a blanket. And I go sit and I watch the sun come up. And I hear the birds start to sing and the bugs start to buzz. And it's just so beautiful. I think that another feeling that we don't think about enough is overcoming fear and realizing that you're not afraid of things that you used to be afraid of. For me, that's bugs. I used to be terrified of bugs. I was really, really badly bullied when I was a kid. And kids at school used to chase me and like put bugs on me when I was a kid to bully me, to be mean on purpose. And that really stuck with me. And whenever you are treated that way and you start to associate those things with fear. And I had to kind of come to terms with the fact that, you know, the bugs didn't hurt me. It was the mean kids who did. And so I've just kind of have to come to realize that, like, you know, it's just misplaced blame. And what I needed to be afraid of was the impact that that would have on how I saw myself. For years and years of my life, how I saw myself. When in reality, what I became afraid of was the bugs. And only recently I've really started to overcome that fear. I've started to realize that bugs are not out to get me unless they're like wasps. Wasps are out to get everybody. But just realizing that they're just alive. Like, they're literally not doing anything except for like buzzing around and just maybe having weird legs. It's like, why am I so afraid of another living creature who can't maliciously do me wrong? It's like, I get being afraid of certain people, of certain kinds of people, of men especially for me, because you understand that, like, they can hurt you intentionally. But with nature, with animals, with storms, even if they do hurt you, they can't do it consciously. They don't do it for the sake of hurting you. They just do it because they're animals, you know? Maybe that's a stupid way to look at it. That's how I look at it. And I think getting over my fear of bugs opened the door to fix the real issue in getting bugs thrown at me, which was the way that it made me see myself as I got older. I was not a thin child. When I was about 8 years old, my grandfather passed away. And obviously I'm a kid. I don't know what a coping mechanism is. I don't know any of that. So I would just eat because I knew eating made me feel good. And then I gained a lot of weight from that, because if all you do all day is eat, 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 you're gonna gain weight. And it's like, is that necessarily a bad thing? No, but when you are a child, that is a problem, because A, you're developing and it can hinder your development. It didn't for me because I was still really active. But it can also make you a target for bullying. And that's what it did to me, is it made me a very easy target. And I had to realize that being fat was not the problem. It was that people are mean as hell. Well, this has concluded our time at the park. I have to head home now, but we're gonna pack up together and give you kind of my final thoughts. But just kind of, oh, here's how my coloring page is going, by the way. But kind of the moral of the story: do things that enrich you, do things that make you happy, and go places that make you happy. Make yourself someone who makes you happy. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. Surround yourself with nature. Surround yourself with books and music and things that make you feel peace. And be kind. Be kind. And I will see you next time. I love you dearly. Do you see it? And then the other bird is right there, kind of in the middle, if you see it moving. Oh, he's walking. There's a little boat right there. This is so fun. This is such a pretty view.